Lux Occult is a part of the Green Mushroom Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to this very special bonus episode of the Lux Occult podcast, exploring the intersections of magic, science, art, philosophy, technology, and so much more through the lens of chaos magic. This is occultism for everyone. I'm your host, Lux Estrada, and if you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, that means that this show, and magic for that matter, are for you if you want them. There are a lot of different ways to be more free in the world, and using magic or making space for a spiritual practice in your life can be one of them. As always, I don't speak for anybody but myself. People can, will, and should disagree sometimes with the things I or my guests say on this show. How we ever learn anything if we were all in agreement on all things after all anyway? And like those who attempt to be reasonable should be willing to do, I can and often will advise my opinions or thoughts about things based on new evidence. Alright, very excited to share this special bonus episode with you all. What you will hear is a recording of an event that I organized on Discord and Zoom for October 11th of this year of Our Lady, 2024, for participants of the Green Mushroom Project. The meat and potatoes is a guided meditation which leads one into the Green Mushroom shared astral space, the astral mushroom, if you will, and into the area which has been specifically prepared for doing some egg and sigil magic. We started doing this type of stuff during the pandemic when this way of doing magic remotely using digital means as well as the imagination really appealed because it was one of the few options available for group work. Interestingly enough, the new conditions that we found ourselves in during that time allowed for new paths to be opened up in terms of the types of things that were possible. It just wasn't the case that people were willing to hang out on Zoom and do stuff like this before these conditions. So all of a sudden, a lot of us were into trying this weird new thing. Sort of makes sense working with a biological metaphor like the mushroom that life or magic or whatever finds a way, and new paths were opened up when old ones were temporarily blocked. Anyway, what you will hear today is a fun example of the type of things that we've had the opportunity to experiment with as a group. It's been interesting and rewarding stuff for a lot of us. It certainly has been for me, for which I'm very grateful. Looking forward to getting into it here, but before I do, let me provide you all with some context about what the Green Mushroom Project is if you're new, and let me also remind you that if you like the show and the other work I've been getting into, you can support it on Patreon. If you do so, you can take a bibliomancy break with me. Give it about a month for Patreon to charge your card, and then go ahead and ask that question, and I would be happy to conduct that reading for you. Buy Me a Coffee is also an option for those who would like to show their support with a one-time donation. Thank you so much to everybody who is already doing this. Your support makes the show possible by allowing me to cover the expenses associated with making it, which seem to rise on a daily basis, such as life though, thereby justifying to myself the not inconsiderable amount of time that I spend. I really do appreciate the opportunity to be making this beast, and having the resources necessary to reach y'all today is part of that equation, which is integral. So many thanks to the support for making this show possible. Although I am quite introverted, I don't use social media very much due to this, although lately I have been posting a lot of fun Halloween shit because I'm very, very into spooky season. But in general, I don't use it very often, and I'm not usually there checking on stuff every day or anything like that. But that certainly doesn't mean that I don't want to hear from you all or anything like that. I'm beyond lucky to have such amazing listeners, collaborators, cohorts, co-conspirators, etc. I always welcome people's thoughts, questions, comments, suggestions, or arcane revelations. You can reach me at luxoccultpod@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram at luxoccultpod. Okay, as promised, here is a little bit of background about the mushroom. Green Mushroom Project is an ongoing group magical working, which I designed in the summer of 2020, and that some friends and I conducted the initiation ceremony for on Halloween of that year. So actually, as this episode comes out, the mushroom will officially be turning 4. Happy birthday, mushroom. There's also 4 objectives to the project. The first one was to create a network of green or Venus aspected magic for practitioners to draw upon for creative healing and restorative works. The word hypho actually means web, and the sigil we used was inspired by the linking sigil created by the DCAM mute. It's pretty cool stuff. The hypho sigil is its own type of linking sigil, a webbing sigil, if you will. Our second objective was to build and strengthen community and empower individuals within it. The third, to strengthen our position against hate groups and other bullshit through solidarity. And the fourth, to encourage individuals to use powerful magical tech to become more agentic and free in their lives. Working with the biological metaphor of the ecological relationships that some fungi share with some plants, usually trees. If we, the magical practitioners, are like a forest of trees, then the mushroom current connects us and strengthens us in unseen ways. In addition to the mycelial web, which connects us, there are the mushroom spores, which are like little packets of the current's energy, which can be applied to situations as needed by any participant. You can think of them as micro-servitors, if you will. If you're unfamiliar with that word, servitor, I suggest you check out the first episode of this podcast entitled Explaining Chaos Magic to My Brother. There's a few also follow-up episodes where I explain more chaos magic basics to my brother as well. Green Mushroom Project's newest experiment, Void House, is about investigating the healing and alchemical properties of consent, providing consent education to magically inclined people, and organizing a consent-forward magical space for group work, both in person and online. The idea of consent being a central guiding philosophical principle for doing group magical work, as well as providing education about the nuances of consent to magically inclined people, is something that I feel incredibly grateful to have the opportunity to be doing. I've said this before on the show, but I'm going to say it again because I really do feel like that's true. In a world that wants to push us around and cause us to conform to the wishes of others, maintaining healthy boundaries and communicating about your needs and the rest of what goes into a consent practice is a genuine form of resistance. Thank you so much to everybody who has been assisting with our efforts and who has been showing so much enthusiasm for this way of doing things. Fuck yeah, gratitude. We are announcing a call for submissions for our third offering of collected work from the Green Mushroom Project. We made a zine back in 2022, and in 2023 we created a digital mixtape. Now we're compiling recipes for potions, energetic oils, incense, magical foods, and more. I think I might put my recipe for fake blood that I used recently for a very strange photo shoot that I did. Recipes can also be more abstract as well, like a recipe for an experience, which I suppose is what a ritual is by some way of looking at things. We are going to be collecting submissions until December 7th of 2024, so do not delay. See the episode description for a link to submission guidelines. And thanks so much to Lavender for spearheading this effort. Alright, as always, much love to everybody participating in the Green Mushroom Project, regardless of what that looks like for you in your practice. It's been such an honor and such a privilege to be sharing this journey with all of you. Before I leave you with the Astral Egg and Sigil magic meditation, I should note that this type of thing is generally not advisable to get into while you're driving or operating heavy machinery or doing something that requires a lot of focus and attention on your physical form, so please check it out when you're in a chill and safe place to do so. If you'd like to read the script before listening to the meditation, you can find a write-up of it in the episode description, along with the other links to the stuff I mentioned. There's a fun discussion about what people found, which you may want to take a pause to note your own impressions before listening to and being influenced by the thoughts of others. It's always cool to hear what other people take away from doing similar exercises, but I feel like it's also nice to leave some space to process your own impressions before hearing about those of others. I'll pop in and remind you before the discussion starts. You'll need paper and a writing utensil to create a sigil before the meditation starts if you would like to do the exercise as it's laid out. Thanks so much to everybody who attended on the 11th, and thanks so much to those who are willing to share their impressions on this recording. I think that we've got some really fun stuff and a lot to think about as well. Alright, well, without further ado, let's get into it. Here is the recording of the Astral Egg and Sigil Magic event that Green Mushroom Project did on the 11th of October 2024. Cheers. Alright, well, welcome to tonight's Astral Egg Magic Extravaganza. extravaganza, I should say. We're going to be doing a guided meditation, which we first performed on May 19th of 2023. And this is a sort of idea about planting a seed for later or planting like an embryo in an egg that will grow. And this is something that it's nice to do as a sort of like springtime activity when we're sowing the fields and everything. But I think that the fall is also a really good time for planting as well. And there's several crops that we actually do that with. So I thought it would be cool to do this on the sort of flip side as well. So welcome. This is a sort of interesting inversion of this, what might be traditional time of year to do egg magic. So the first thing that we're going to do is pull a tarot card as a guide for our journey and then discuss a little bit about its meaning. So I would be happy to do that, or if there's somebody on the call that would like to fill that role, that would be cool too.
My deck is like jumping up and down, chomping at the bit for this one.
I had a premonition that you might be willing to step in. Thank you.
All right. Ace of Pentacles.
Oh. Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
So what do we think about Ace of Pentacles?
Oh, this is like the first thing with Ace of Pentacles that always comes to mind is like money is, I mean, always kind of associated with the Pentacles suit, and this is the Rider-Waite deck. So the traditional artwork is like this hand coming out of a cloud with a golden pentacle in it. And so the ace is also usually indicative of like the start of something, like the beginning of a cycle. So this to me is like the beginning of a cycle of prosperity. And yeah, like it's almost like it's giving you the seed to be planted to create wealth and abundance.
Yup. Kind of plant that seed.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
It sounds very auspicious for what we're planning tonight.
Hell yeah, this is perfect. I was like, God damn,
Yeah.
thank you.
But yeah.
I said, no wonder your tarot deck wanted to be used.
Right?
Right on. Does anybody else have any thoughts about that?
I keep seeing the pentagram. I saw it on this window, but it's the pentagram with imposed on itself upside down as well. So it's like straight up and then upside down on top of itself. And I saw that on a window the other day, and I was like, that's fucking crazy. And I wrote it down. I don't know.
Cool. Well, the next step in our operation here is to craft a sigil, which is going to signify something that you would like information, inspiration, or guidance about, or something else. This can be written on the astral egg that we'll be working with during the meditation. So this is going to be a sort of thing that we'll be taking into the meditation with us. So I'll give folks a couple minutes to come up with a sigil for themselves here. And let me know if you need any assistance or have any questions about this process. We'd be happy to brainstorm.
Oh yeah, gonna get my sigil on.
That's right.
Sigils, kind of like magical squiggles.
Squiggle, squiggle.
Sorry, everything got really quiet for a second. What are we doing right now? We're making a sigil for this?
Yes, we are crafting a sigil for something that we would like information, inspiration, or guidance, or whatever about. And this is going to be the thing that we're taking into this meditation to like do this egg magic with. And for people listening at home, they can pause this recording and, of course, come back to it once they've drawn their sigils. So now that we've got our sigils and all of that already, for people who don't have a super visual imagination, or even if you do and you think it might be useful to have it around, a pencil or other drawing utensil and paper for taking notes later or for free drawing to scry might be useful. There's a component of this meditation which we're going to be sort of like astrally scrying, which is definitely like could be contextualized as just conjuring up whatever images out of a blank slate in our imagination. So that's going to be really easy for some people to do with a visual imagination and nigh on impossible for others, depending on where you land on that spectrum. So depending on where you're at, different things and different approaches might be useful. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or comments or anything before we get into it here? All right. Well, if everybody would go ahead and start to get into a relaxed position that you think will be comfortable for doing this meditation, somewhere that's not going to be, twisted in some kind of uncomfortable position with your limbs bent at weird angles, something that's going to feel chill, natural, somewhere where you can breathe easy and relax. And as you shift yourself into this more comfortable position, take a few moments to relax and begin to become aware of your breath. Make small adjustments to your posture, to your head, your neck, to your hands and to your feet as you begin to relax, breathing deeply. Feel where the air touches your skin, noticing the temperature and motion of it. Allow each breath to fill your lungs, and when you exhale, push the air out until you feel a thirst for the next breath, the next deep inhale. Continue to breathe deeply, feeling the air fill your lungs, connecting with the branching pathways, oxygen entering your blood, dancing there, giving nourishment and strength to each cell in your body and each tiny creature which comprises your collective. Feel it renewing you, instilling you with resilience. Feel the firmness beneath your feet, the solidity of the structures supporting your body. Follow that feeling of firmness down towards the ground, into the ground, down into the earth. Notice the feeling of stillness there, of centered stability. As we go down deeper still, we find that there is stillness, which is abuzz with the subtle activities of life. Small things taking place in seeming silence and seeming stillness. Tiny happenings which give way to cumulative bloomings of many types. Take a few moments to explore whatever activities, whatever connections you feel around you. As we reach out with our minds, we can feel that there is a web of fungal hyphae there too. Notice how it stretches out in vast, searching ways, growing broadly, reaching openly, exploring the deep places in the ground. Feel the action and the stillness of it. Sense now, in as many ways as you are able, the moment we are in. Consider the connection to the past and the future which stretch out on either side, and think of all the ways in which these paths of your life have interwoven with others, will interweave with others. Think of how they interweave in the now. Like the mycelial hyphae, this network of time exists as a vastness of branching paths, of dancing signals, of shared resources and experiences. It is a structure of immense complexity, a pattern that is your pattern, the book of your life, written in a nonlinear, woven tapestry. As we sit together in this moment, connected with word and with purpose, as well as with the sparks and with wires and with the unseen action of our organic and inorganic technology, consider that we form a sort of circle, one which exists outside of space and outside of place, like a ring of mushrooms, much more complex than might first meet the inner eye. Out of this complexity, this hyphal web, emerges a familiar figure, rising up before us. It is the mushroom, looming large and growing more distinct. As we move towards it, we are able to see it with greater ease. Can you feel its inviting pull, that place of gathering at these crossroads where we now meet? Notice that there are tiny lights, green spores floating around us. They dance in fractal patterns in the eddies of our breath, collecting in our hair and eyelashes like snow before sinking in, infusing us with their magic. Ahead now, the door is opening to us, and we can see the glow from within the tavern at the mushroom's base. There are smells of savor and sweetness, of spices and loam and baking bread, the crispness of cider and exotic herbs. There is laughter floating in the air and music which weaves through the twisting currents of spores. As we move forward, we cross the threshold into the tavern, and all of a sudden we see that we are all here together in this place of our own, which we have built between worlds. Welcome. As we move into the tavern, we are greeted by the guardian. The protective force of their presence strengthens us, instilling us with a sense of safety and sureness in our footing and in our abilities. We see that there are many ways to gather in this space, many opportunities for collaboration or quiet contemplation. There are cozy nooks bordered with stacks of books, and large tables with game boards and art projects spread out on them. There are instruments of music and science to be found in this place where we gather to share what we have learned on our journey and to share in the laughter and camaraderie of our astral peers. Moving through the tavern, we are invigorated, ready to do the work that we have set out to do. As we continue on, we walk past the shared altar where people, ourselves perhaps, and other visitors to this place have left things. What do you see there on the altar? What sort of energetic vibe do you feel from it? We travel deeper into the tavern, down a short hallway, and we approach the kitchen, which is always ready and well stocked. Can you smell the sweet scent of baking bread growing stronger, butter and garlic and minced thyme? Croissants and cookies have been set out to cool, the sweet richness of chocolate and the freshness of mint. Strawberries and lemons and the round, sticky smell of cheese mingling in as fresh pizzas are pulled from the oven. We travel past the main kitchen area, where there is busyness and bustle and good-natured jokes, to a more quiet area, where a large basket has been set out for us. As we get closer, we can see that it is full to the brim with different types of eggs. There are writing implements set out as well, and you can see that they all are ideal for drawing sigils on eggs. Approach the basket and choose your egg and your writing implement. What color egg have you chosen? What is its size? Are there spots or other markings? There are no right answers. Even the idea of an egg will suffice just fine. Once you have chosen your egg and your writing utensil, we will continue on past the basket and through a door. This workroom is a private auxiliary kitchen that has been set up for our work tonight. There are cooking stations ready with everything we will need. As you approach your station, you see that it is set up to cook an egg. A pan is preheated and greased, and there is a spatula and plate. Your favorite spices or other ingredients are there too, or the ones you think you've seen other people use if you've never made an egg before. We will now conduct some egg magic. Hold the egg in one hand and begin to write your sigil on it. As you do, imagine your intention, the thing you made the sigil for, traveling into the egg. Let the egg change temperature a bit in your hand as it is warmed by your body. Imagine this warmth being like a fire, the fire of your will, your desire, your intention. Focus on how it will feel when the thing comes to be, when the magic you do here now has already worked and been manifested in your life. When you are ready, you will see that a small candle has been set out by the stove. The lights dim as you light the wick. Look down now into the shiny, dark surface of the greased pan which has been prepared for you. See the way that the flickering candlelight plays off of the oils. Hold your intention in your mind. And, with no hesitation, crack the sigil egg into the pan. By the force of this action, this choice, you have just created a new version of reality in which the thing you intend is more likely to come to pass. What do you now need to know? What might help you move towards that which you sigilized for? What will be helpful for you to discover or remember or understand or forget or something else altogether? Look down into the pan where your sigil egg is cooking and let your gaze go soft. Allow your mind to be lazy, playful, and see what shapes or patterns or notions might emerge. You can do this scrying here in this astral kitchen, or you can use your pencil and paper to begin to draw shapes without thinking about it. Letting the pencil remain in contact with the paper as it wanders whichever way it wants to go. You can do both if that sounds good to you. Whatever feels most natural right now. all approaches might yield fruit. As you gaze into the egg, or the shapes on the paper you are creating, what patterns are coming forth? Are there symbols or other impressions? Are there phrases or music which has emerged from somewhere? A message might take many forms. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell and feel? Take note of as much as you can in your mind, letting it sit there gently without trying to pick it apart. The egg is almost ready now. You can see that without thinking about it, you have prepared it in the way that you want to enjoy. If you don't eat eggs or are vegan, that is okay. Remember, no astral chickens will ever be harmed in the process of this exercise. Here in this space, we often interact with things on the level of symbols only. Take some of the food you have prepared and set it aside on the small plate you see next to the larger one. We will be offering this as thanks to all who have lent us their help and protection, their guidance and their inspiration, for this and other magic we bring about. Take the tray containing the small and large dishes and everything else we will need, and carry it as we proceed out to the back garden, where we can see the night blooming flowers and incandescent insects dancing in the stillness of the dark. There are moths and crickets, tiny lizards cavorting in the underbrush and mulch. The wind through the rows of luscious herbs and profusely flowering honeysuckles, past vegetable melon patches, past peppers and eggplants, bok choy and celery, past fennel and bergamot and grapes. The garden here grows on its own schedule. The seasons are more of suggestions than rules. As we walk on, out of the herb and vegetable garden that provides food for the bustling tavern and temple, we come to a crossroads. This is where we will leave our offerings. Set them down with gratitude in your mind, and as we walk back towards the garden and towards the tavern beyond, we do not look back. As we pass through the garden, rain begins to fall. It comes down first in tiny, spattering spurts, then opens up into heavy, rolling sheets. We can see how the plants relish it, the earth below us swallowing the fresh, nourishing storm water into its loamy depths. We can smell the ozone in the air and are invigorated by the clean, cool water that washes over our faces. We invite the rain to fall here and in other places where animals and plants are thirsty and in need of respite. We invite the rain to fall while there is drought and thirst. If there is rain that would visit us during our celebration, when we are together, we ask that it wait until after our festivities are complete. We welcome and honor the rain and thank it for the nourishment and relief it brings. We honor the plants in the garden and the forest and the fields. We honor the animals who give us nourishment and teach us. We honor all the spirits that have helped us, and we honor the mushroom for helping us find each other. I honor you. Thank you for your trust in allowing me to lead you on this journey. Let us now proceed back into the tavern where we can relax and share about our experiences. So very gently, when you're ready, please begin to again become aware of your body. feeling the stillness and solidity of the structures which support it, becoming grounded in our own skin again, and reflecting on the journey that we just went on. Gratitude. Greetings, it is I, Luxa from the future. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that. As promised, I wanted to remind you that this would be a good time to note any of your own impressions before hearing what people on the recording have to say about their experiences. Cheers. So I'll give folks a couple minutes to return back to the trusty meat suit. Got a couple of impressions questions here. What did we see on the altar? What did your egg happen to look like? Just curious. And what impressions might we have gotten from the scrying exercise? And we can also think about our experiences in light of our helper or guide card tonight, the Ace of Pentacles.
The way that I picture the tavern, there's sort of a big like spiral staircase leading up from the tavern into like sort of people's private spaces. And then coming down that spiral staircase, there's like a big waterfall that like filters into the pool. And so we were all sort of coming around the corner, and at the base of this waterfall were like several like large flat like shale stones that were sort of like part of this water feature thing that was like, and moss was growing on them, and that was sort of the altar that people had started. And I saw a candle in a silver candle holder and some amethyst stones and a whole bunch of like small little like children's toys, kind of like little trucks and balls and blocks and stuff like that.
That's funny because my altar was very like also had like moss and ferns, and it was almost like a tree stump.
Very cool. And I do want to say too, for folks that don't want to have their impressions on the recording, feel free to wait until we go back to Discord if you'd rather share them there privately as well. So either one of those opportunities is available.
And my egg was just like a regular tan colored egg.
Very cool. Miguel, is it okay if I read this out loud? Okay, cool. So Miguel says, or sorry, Mike the Human says, on the altar for me, I saw a black blanket, a lot like a beach towel. Don't forget a towel. That's me. It had the green mushroom sigil on it, and it was imbued with comfort and caring. A warm hug feeling came over me when I put it on. I love that. Yeah, I love the idea of always having a towel with you, not just from Hitchhiker's Guide, but also from South by.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
get a little
no.
high. So stupid. Sorry. I'm sorry I brought up towel to everybody. It's supposed to be a nice night.
Yeah, my egg was black with like white speckles.
My egg was emerald green and gold with amethyst crystals, studded jewels. It was quite a sight to behold and hold.
Very cool.
I have a question to pose, actually, if that's okay.
Please.
I'm wondering if anybody else was confronted by, like, a way of cooking the egg that you, like, didn't expect, or, like, that differed from the, like, from the spoken meditation. Because, like, the way that I was hearing the meditation kind of described, like, I would be frying an egg, but in my brain, I found a pot of boiling water on the stove, and I ended up making poached eggs on toast.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
that
Maybe I
was.
should adapt it to be more universal. I never considered doing anything with frying. But no, I love that. That's so cool.
I think it might just be because poached eggs on toast was like the first egg dish I learned to make when I was a kid. So
Yeah.
Poached
But it was really interesting for the scrying part, actually, like watching the egg sort of like bubble in the water into like different forms and stuff.
Mine too. It was like bubbling and it was so strange because I just like left it in there. I didn't touch it. I just cracked it in there,
Yeah,
just like watching it bubble.
my egg ended up taking on a lot of animal forms. Like I started seeing a lot of animal forms. Oh gosh, what was there? Started out as a dog, and then it became a dragon, and then a kangaroo, and then a chipmunk, or like a squirrel.
Right. Well, that was fun. Does anybody have any last thoughts? Or maybe it was I enjoyed it. I shouldn't say it was fun for everybody. I enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for joining for this and for as I said, trusting me to lead you all on this little journey.
Hell yeah, that was
Mike the
awesome.
human says that for his scrying, as the egg cooked, he had an unexpected conversation with Hecate.
Oh, interesting. I completely missed that message. Thank you. That is fascinating. Okay, well, I would love to hear more about that when you're in a position where you can share it and everything like that. I think you might be at work right now, which if that's true, I love that you're getting paid for this right now. So fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Is there any other impressions anybody would like to get on this recording before we hop back on over to Discord? All
What
right.
color were people's markers?
White.
I picked up like a weird marker that was like black, pink, and green all at the same time.
Ooh.
Mine was more like a paintbrush.
Yeah, mine was paintbrushy.
Ooh. Mine was like a paint marker because I'm a hooligan.
Yeah. Kind of like, those watercolor paintbrushes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Cool.
All right. Well, dope. Is everybody ready to draw some pictures?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all so much for joining. All right. Thanks so much to everybody who joined for the special Astral Egg and Sigil Magic event. Check out the episode description to find links to the Green Mushroom Project, the submission guidelines for Fuck Around and Find Out Part 3, Sorceress Recipes for Resistance, Resilience, and more from the Green Mushroom Project. Also check the episode description for a link to get tickets to Kink School, the online BDSM education convention, where me and my friend Damien Agony, who you heard on today's recording, actually, will be teaching a class about sigils and sex magic this November the 23rd. Stoked about what we've put together for that. I think it's going to be a really cool class. Thanks so much to everybody who's been making this show possible by giving on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. Your support makes the show possible for me to make, and it means a lot to me to be able to do. If you enjoyed what you heard today, consider telling a friend. There's a lot of cool stuff we have planned coming up for the Green Mushroom Project and Void House. I've learned a lot from the conversations I've had about magic and a lot of other stuff with people who have been part of these efforts, and I feel so grateful to have the opportunity to continue to cultivate what we've got going on. To all the pocket wizards, fuck yar, keep kicking ass, and much love to everybody participating in the Green Mushroom Project, regardless of what that looks like for you in your particular individual practice. And however it looks for you in your life, I want to remind you to resist. Resist by maintaining sovereignty of the self. Resist by maintaining love of the self. Resist by maintaining fierce loyalty to love and pleasure. Resist with acts of radical kindness. Focus on the path to better times. Fuck yeah. Thanks so much to everybody who joined for the special Astral Egg and Sigil Magic event, and to everybody who has been assisting both seen and unseen. Gratitude, Void, and hail Hecate. Most of all, thanks so much to you for listening. This is Lux Estrada, reminding you to stay strong and stay fucking curious.
Lux Occult is a part of the Green Mushroom Podcast Network.